today's Meet the Press series. And we are honored to have the Honorable Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture in the person of the Honorable Barbara OTENG GYASI and her able deputy, with representatives from the agency and other ministry, to present to us today. In their presentation, it will include these three thematic areas: diversification of tourism products, interventions of COVID and post-COVID impact, and the future outlook. So I'll invite the Honorable Minister to begin her presentation, after which we'll have the opportunity to ask questions if we have any.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister of Information, Honorable Doko Aisiameje, my Deputy Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Honorable Ziblim Idi, the Chief Director of the Ministry of Tourism, the executives of the various agencies of the Ministry of Tourism who are present here today, Ms. Akwesi Ajimai of the Ghana Tourism Authority, my Director of HR, the Deputy Executive Director of Ghana Tourism Development Corporation, the Interim President of the Creative Arts Council, Mr. Marco Kreku Mante, and Mr. Divine Usu Ansa, who is responsible, the project coordinator for our Ghana Tourism Development Project, and all our representatives from the various agencies who are here. Let me thank you for the good work that you have done for the Ministry of Tourism and for the stakeholders of the tourism, arts, and culture sector. Friends of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning once again, and I'm here to present to you the various interventions that the Ministry of Tourism has undertaken, the projects and programs, the policies that we have implemented to ensure that the tourism, arts, and culture industry contributes to the economic development of this country. The tourism sector provides livelihoods for many of our youth, and lately the sector has grown to become the fourth largest contributor to our gross domestic product, coming only after the sectors of gold, cocoa, and oil and gas. Tourism is undoubtedly one of the sectors most affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, which has impacted negatively on economies, livelihoods, public services, and opportunities on all the continents. Despite the brief recovery seen in the second half of the year, the COVID-19 pandemic rages on, and the global economy continues to suffer sizable losses and setbacks, with tourism industry nearly on its knees. The United Nations World Tourism Organization has indicated that international tourist numbers could decline by between 58 to 78% in 2020. This would translate into a drop in visitor spending from $1.5 trillion in 2019 to between 310 and 570 billion in 2020. This places over 100 million direct tourism jobs at risk, many of them in micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, which employ a high proportion of women and young people, with informal workers being the most vulnerable. According to the World Travel and Tourism job losses in 2020 is projected at 98.2 million, whilst losses of travel and tourism globally to GDP is projected at 2.6 billion US dollars, representing a 30% reduction in jobs and GDP compared with 2019. The core mandate of the ministry lies in acting as the liaison between governments and implementing agencies on one hand, and the key stakeholders in the creative, arts and culture industries, as well as the development partners. The ministry continues to be guided by its mandate, which is to provide a firm, stable policy environment for the effective mainstreaming of Ghanaian arts and culture into all aspects of national development. Based on its policy directives, the ministry has chalked considerable gains in 4 critical areas, which are the policies, development and implementation, as well as introduction of legislation to support the industry, diversification of tourism products, innovative programs, projects and activities, and the management of COVID-19 and its impact on the sector. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to harmonize the various interest groups and to support the preparation of the Creative Arts Industry Bill, government set up the Interim Creative Arts Council. With input from all the various stakeholders, the draft Creative Industry Bill has been laid in Parliament for consideration and on passage into law. And the passage into law is expected to be done before the end of this year. The first reading and the second reading of the bill has been completed, and we are expecting that when Parliament reconvenes after the elections on December 7th, we will have the bill passed into law. I know that the industry is very expectant of having this bill in place before we go into the year 2020. And this is important because it also provides the legal basis for the establishment of the Creative Arts Fund, which will provide financial resources to support the industry and ensure that it grows to impact on the economy of the country. Ladies and gentlemen, following the successful implementation of the Year of Return, government has taken further steps towards the integration of an African diaspora community into the country. In this light, the ministry, in collaboration with other relevant ministries, has taken steps to initiate the Homeland Return Bill. The objective of the Homeland Return Bill is to recognize Ghana's moral and spiritual obligation as an African country to facilitate the return of the global African family to Ghana and to Africa, the motherland, and initiate the legal and regulatory processes for integrating them into the Ghanaian society. The Homeland Return Bill will engender the regulatory and practical changes to improve the requirements for the acquisition of Ghanaian citizenship and permanent residence by Africans in the diaspora in the country. It is our fervent hope that once enacted, the Homeland Return Bill will remove all the impediments in the process of acquisition of resident permits or citizenship by descendants of Africans who are in the diaspora, as well as children of Africans, of Ghanaians living in the diaspora. Ladies and gentlemen, despite the enormous contribution of the creative industry to the Ghanaian economy, players in the industry seem not to be well catered for, as reflected by the sad states of aged Ghanaian artists who very often have to make public appeals for financial and material support during when confronted with difficult situations in their old age. Currently, most creative arts practitioners are not covered by any risk mitigation measures during critical times such as injury, ill health, or old age, and during loss of production equipment due to certain circumstances of when accidents occur. This is partly due to the fact that artists are not salaried workers, but rather ply their trade mostly on a contractual and seasonal basis. Against this backdrop, the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture is spearheading the development and introduction of a creative arts insurance scheme for the creative industry. Beneficiaries of the scheme shall be members of the creative industry who are registered with the ministry and its agencies. The Creative Arts Insurance Scheme is intended to achieve the following: to provide an insurance scheme appropriately tailored to the needs of creative artists and performers in the creative arts industry, provide life insurance or similar investment products for creative arts sector players, and also provide bespoke creative arts industry insurance products and cover for personal injury, damage, and theft. We are hopeful that this insurance scheme will be launched before the end of this year and take effect from 1st January 2021. We are also undertaking assessments to ensure that the government can take over payments of the first year insurance premium to allow adequate time for our practitioners to work for at least 1 year and then take over the payment of premium going forward. Because we recognize that the industry has been negatively impacted by COVID-19 and most of our practitioners have not worked during this period. So this is a support that the government is going to extend to industry players by taking up the first year payment of premium. Ladies and gentlemen, the ministry has been reviewing the existing culture policy as well as the tourism policy, which should have been completed this year. Work was delayed due to the COVID-19 and its impact on stakeholder engagements. But we are hopeful that in the year 2021, the review of these policies will be completed to ensure that it takes on board the current situation confronting our culture sector as well as the tourism sector and brings on board current policies and programs to positively impact these two very significant sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, tourism, human resource, and skills development is one of the important factors that will propel our tourism performance. Government, in appreciation of the need for an efficient human resource for the tourism and hospitality industry, has approved the National Tourism and Hospitality Training Policy to guide the effective supply of skilled personnel to the industry, to improve the work of agencies and implementing agencies under the ministry. The following legislative instruments have also been passed: the Tourism Tourist Sites Regulations 2019, LI 2383, the Tourism and Travel Trade Regulations 2019, LI 2383, and these LIs will support the work of the Ghana Tourism Authority in performing its regulatory functions of the tourism industry. With regards to the provision of adequate funding for the conservation and preservation of heritage assets, such as our forts and castles, the Heritage and Culture Fund Bill has been drafted for Cabinet consideration and approval. This will ensure that these heritage sites retain their status as UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Ladies and gentlemen, under Component 3 of the Ghana Tourism Development Project, the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture has started the Sites Upgrade Grant Scheme aimed at upgrading selected tourist sites across the country. The Sites Upgrade Grant Scheme is to improve the image of selected tourist sites across the country to ensure better tourist experience that will yield repeat visits and recommendations from our visiting tourists. To this end, preparatory works are being finalized on the following sites. The Slave Routes Project, which will ensure that our visitors who are interested in the slave trade can experience the routes that the slaves traveled from all the way from the north to the south and then ended up in the various dungeons in the central region. The Crafts Village Project in the northern region, which will showcase our various crafts as well as our smoke of the northern region. The Kintampo Waterfalls Iconic Site Phase 1 project, the improvements to the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum, the improvements to the Mole National Park, improvements to the Shai Resorts, introduction of a slave heritage museum, works which are ongoing at the Bonre Kente Museum, which we recently cut the sword for, the Kwewu Ojuahoma paragliding site, which we recently commissioned, the Tafi Atome Monkey Sanctuary Phase 1 project, which we also recently commissioned, the Tete Kwashi Cocoa Museum, which we are going to commission this afternoon, as well as a gold museum, which we have started engagements on, and we are hopeful that next year work can begin. Ladies and gentlemen, we have also a very important initiative as a follow-up to the Year of Return project, which is the Beyond the Return initiative. Following the successful implementation of the Year of Return in 2019, the ministry recognizes the need to continuously carry out activities to sustain the country's diaspora relationship and build on the positive impacts of the Year of Return initiative. The ministry has therefore introduced the Beyond the Return initiative, which seeks to consolidate the gains of the Year of Return. The Beyond the Return initiative has 7 pillars, comprising Experience Ghana, which is the core pillar, inviting the global African family to visit and experience Ghana. Invest in Ghana. This pillar will create special investment projects and ease of doing business for the diaspora African family. The Diaspora Pathways to Ghana. This pillar will see to the adoption of legal and policy frameworks on visa acquisition and the institution of a diaspora visa. Celebrate Ghana. This will create a sense of national consciousness anchored on key cultural festivals, media programs, adoption of contemporary festivals into the national calendar, and promotion of domestic tourism. Brand Ghana. This pillar will promote Ghana as a leading tourist destination and a hub for African Renaissance. Give back to Ghana. This pillar will foster a new sense of community service and giving that will create ongoing legacies for the Beyond the Return initiative. Promotes Pan-African heritage and innovation. This pillar will focus on promoting Pan-African and Ghanaian heritage and develop pilgrimage infrastructure around tourist sites of memory. These 7 pillars seek to spur the socio-economic development and diversification of the nation's economy by rebranding Ghana on the international scene. As His Excellency the President views the tourism sector as a strategic pillar in the transformation agenda of his program, his Beyond Ghana Beyond Aid program. The Beyond the Return initiative will cement Ghana's relationship with the global African family and the rest of the African continent by giving Ghana a competitive edge to attract diaspora and international tourists into the country. The 7 Pillars project will establish strong connections with the African diasporan community and also has a propensity of attracting investors into the country. It is worthy to note that despite COVID-19 pandemic, the diaspora community continues to express commitment to visiting Ghana. For visiting Ghana in particular and Africa in general. And Ghana has demonstrated its readiness to welcome the African diaspora community and to make them an integral part of the Ghanaian society. Ladies and gentlemen, as part of activities to promote domestic tourism, the ministry, under the See Ghana, Eat Ghana, Wear Ghana, and Feel Ghana campaign, has continued to promote this activity and others to increase jobs and incomes for Ghanaians. The ministry, in collaboration with the National Commission on Culture, the Ghana Tourism Authority, Ghana Textile Printing, and Street Fashion Company, organized the Wear Ghana Festival to promote made in Ghana clothing, whilst creating a bigger platform for Ghanaian goods. The Wear Ghana Fashion Nights showcased the smock and the GTP fabric to position them as the customer's choice in the global market. The ministry also collaborated with City FM on a tour dubbed Heritage Caravan in 13 regions of the country over a 7-day period. This initiative created an opportunity to showcase the rich heritage, culture, and sites of the country. It helped to promote domestic tourism, which has become critical for the survival of tourism during this COVID-19 era. Ladies and gentlemen, the ministry has continued the implementation of the Ghana Tourism Development Project, following the approval of a 40 million World Bank loan for a period of 5 years. So far, the ministry has approved a total of $1.4 million for 15 small and medium enterprises in the tourism value chain under the Ghana Tourism Development Project. The government of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo considers it paramount that the private sector is given the needed support to contribute to the growth of the country. We wish to use this platform to urge the beneficiary organizations to endeavor to improve their service delivery in order to aid government to stimulate Ghana's tourism sector, such that tourists visiting the country will have lasting memories which will engender repeat visits. Ladies and gentlemen, as part of the ministry's plan to ensure quality standards in the tourism industry, increase tourist satisfaction and spending, and also following the approval of the National Tourism and Hospitality Training Policy by Cabinet, the ministry has begun the process of building and revamping tourism and hospitality training schools across the country in partnership with the private sector. The purpose of the training schools is to train and supply mainly middle-level personnel in the tourism and hospitality industry. Expression of interest has been advertised and 12 applications have been received. 5 shortlisted institutions have also been requested to submit full proposals for consideration towards the establishment of these tourist training schools. The ministry has also taken initial steps towards the construction of the National Film Village to provide a one-stop shop for film production. Acres of land have been donated by 2 chiefs in the Ashanti region for the construction of the National Film Village. We are hopeful that in our next term, we shall complete this project to support the film industry. Ladies and gentlemen, the ministry, in collaboration with the National Film Authority, inaugurated the Film Classification Committee to benchmark film categorization, classification, standardization, and preview of content intended for viewership. The National Film Authority has initiated a number of programs, including the Film Pitch Series, the Wiki Project, and Mapping Ghana. These projects will reveal the potential of filmmaking in Ghana, attract investment into the industry, and bring the much-needed improvement and quality that is needed to make the film industry more attractive to global audiences and investors, and also ensure that Ghana becomes the film hub for Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, the Arts in the City project, which is an initiative of the Interim Creative Arts Council, is aimed at beautifying the city of Accra, creating a cleaner city by transforming the city's public spaces into colorful murals to prevent indiscriminate postings of posters at public places such as our interchanges and roundabouts. The project also gives opportunity to our artists to showcase their work and has been highly commended by the general public. And I believe most of you here would have seen the various artworks that have been displayed at some of these interchanges in Accra. We are hopeful that this will be replicated in other public spaces in the various regions to showcase the good work of our artists. Ladies and gentlemen, COVID-19 pandemic, in view of its devastating effects on our sector, government has introduced several interventions to ameliorate the impacts on industry operators. These interventions include short and long-term measures comprising a $4 million facility for the development of tourist sites and information centers across the country, which is being undertaken currently whilst we are experiencing this downtime. A $5 million grant scheme to support tourism and hospitality sector enterprises that have been adversely impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. A $600 million COVID-19 stimulus package for small and medium enterprises generally, which tourism SMEs are also able to access. Allocation of $50 million to the creative arts and the media to support our creative arts practitioners who are virtually on their knees due to the ban on public gathering, which has seriously impacted their work. Ghana also obtaining the WTTC Safe Travel Certificate to assure international tourists seeking to travel to Ghana of their safety as the country opens up its airport to international flights. Under the NBSSI relief package, some beneficiaries from the tourism, arts, and culture sector include the following: 1,003 operators in the hospitality industry, 15,097 in the textiles and clothing industry, 37,950 practitioners in the food and beverage industry, making a total of 50 beneficiaries who have enjoyed some support from the NBSSI facility. For our major players, arrangements have also been put in place with commercial banks to make available a facility of $3 million, and we are also currently engaging the Ministry of Finance under the Ghana Cares program to give additional support to the major players in the tourism sector. Ladies and gentlemen, the tourism potential of the country Government has an aggressive agenda for the rapid development of the creative industry and the tourism sector due to the tourism potential of the country. As part of this agenda, key projects and activities that are outlined for implementation by the ministry in our next term, when we have the 4 more years to do more, include establishment of the Film Village in Ashanti region, establishment of the Gold Museum in the Western region, establishment of the Kente Museum, which is even currently ongoing, implementation of a memorandum of understanding in respect of the W.E.B. Du Bois Memorial Center to develop it into an iconic center worthy of the stature of W.E.B. Du Bois, setting up of the Creative Industry Fund to support our creative arts industry players, setting up of the insurance scheme for the creative industry, establishment of a digital platform for the creative industry, development of Akwaba budget hotels to provide hotels at minimum rates to support tourism and domestic tourism, development of tourism enclaves across the country, such as developing the Dodi Island into a multifaceted tourism enclave, implementation of a local content policy to support the film industry. A committee was established to look at this policy, and they have submitted an initial report, and we are hopeful that in our next term we shall implement this policy for the benefit of the film industry. Construction of regional theaters in Kumasi, Takoradi, and Tamale. And then the implementation of the Ghana Center of the World projects. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, it's not Mr. Chairman, right? It's the Honorable Minister of Information. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to stress that government fully recognizes the significant and pivotal role of tourism, culture, and creative industry to the socio-economic development of Ghana. In recognition of this immense contribution of the country, the ministry reaffirms government's commitment towards the development of the industry through close collaboration with all industry stakeholders to enable the country realize the desired goal of making Ghana the preferred tourism destination in the sub-region. Thank you very much for your attention.